Let's talk about one of the world's most critical maritime shortcuts, the Panama Canal. Because right now, it's facing a situation it has literally never seen before. A conflict happening thousands of miles away is sending massive shockwaves across the globe, and somehow the canal is caught right in the middle of it all.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How on earth can a war so far away push this absolute marvel of engineering to its breaking point? Well, the answer tells us a ton about just how interconnected our world is, and maybe just how fragile those connections really are.
To really get what's going on, we first need to just look at the raw numbers. Because the canal isn't just busy, it's dealing with a totally unprecedented surge in traffic.
38. That number right there? That's the maximum number of ships the Panama Canal can physically handle in a single day. And for weeks now, it's been hitting that exact number, day in and day out. No exceptions.
Look, this isn't just a busy season or a little uptick in traffic. The canal is running at its absolute 100% capacity. It's being pushed to the very limit, and it's all in response to this massive, unexpected wave of ships that all need to get through right now.
And that brings us to the cause of all this chaos. This surge isn't just random. Nope, it's a direct result of a major geopolitical conflict that has completely redrawn the map for global shipping.
Okay, so here's the deal. With conflict in the Middle East disrupting two of the world's most vital energy routes, we're talking the Suez Canal and the Strait of Hormuz, the entire shipping industry is scrambling. The strait is closed. A lot of vessels are avoiding the Suez. So, where do they go? You guessed it, they're all heading for Panama.
This really lays it out perfectly. On one side, you have the traditional, super important routes that are totally disrupted. And on the other, you have the alternative, the Panama Canal, which is just seeing this incredible surge as it tries to absorb all that diverted traffic.
So we have this unbelievable new demand. Let's dive into how the canal is actually trying to answer that call and what that kind of strain really looks like on the ground.
So, check this out. The people who run the canal, they had forecasted an average of about 34 ships passing through each day this year. But the reality? They're hitting 38. Now, you might think, 4 ships, what's the big deal? But for a system this complex and precise, running more than 10% over your forecast is a massive strain. It means everything is scheduled tighter, there's way less room for any kind of error, and believe me, it can send the cost for passage skyrocketing.
So what kinds of ships are making up this new traffic jam? Well, the data is crystal clear. The main driver is a huge increase in liquefied natural gas tankers, LNG tankers. And specifically, it's the ones loading up at U.S. ports, all looking for the fastest and safest way to get that energy to markets in Asia and Europe without going anywhere near the conflict zones. And I mean, the shift here has been just dramatic. The canal used to offer maybe 4 slots a month for these huge LNG tankers. Now, they're getting ready to offer 1 slot per day. That's 30 a month. That is an unbelievable pivot in their operations. To pull this off, they're basically running around the clock, optimizing every single transit to prioritize these super high-value energy shipments. You don't have to take my word for it. The canal's own chief, Ricarte Vasquez, he put it very simply. Cargo has to get where it's going. And right now, Panama is still the shortest, most realistic route that can handle this historic demand.
All this pressure on the canal really makes you step back and wonder, right? How does this incredible century-old piece of engineering actually, work?
At its core, it's pretty straightforward. It's a 50-mile, man-made waterway, but it's not just some simple trench dug in the ground. Oh no. The real genius is in its system of locks, which are there to solve a very specific and pretty tricky problem.
And here's that problem, and it's something a lot of people don't realize. The Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, they're not at the same sea level in Panama. The Pacific side is actually a little bit higher, so ships can't just sail straight through. They need to be lifted up, over the land, and then gently lowered back down on the other side.
The solution is just brilliant. It's basically a giant water elevator. A ship sails into one of the locked chambers, these massive gates seal it in, and then millions of gallons of water are used to either raise or lower the ship to the level of the next section. It's this incredibly precise gravity-fed dance that gets repeated for every single vessel, every single day. Now, this incredible feat of engineering isn't just cool from a technical standpoint. It's what has made the canal one of the most strategic pieces of territory on the entire planet for more than 100 years. It was completed by the United States back in 1914, and it stayed under U.S. control for decades. A slow transition started in 1979, and then, at the very end of 1999, full and complete control was handed over to Panama.
And that brings us right back to today. From the moment it was built to its transfer of sovereignty, the story of the Panama Canal has always been about its immense strategic importance to the entire world. What happens here? Well, it really does affect everyone.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? A war on the other side of the planet has pushed the Panama Canal to its absolute breaking point, rerouting global energy supplies and testing the limits of what's possible. And for now, the canal is adapting. It's holding on. But as these geopolitical and even climate pressures keep getting stronger, it forces us to ask a much bigger question. Just how resilient are these vital choke points that our entire global economy depends on?